Today I want to talk about Casey Thompson and some things that we really need to talk about and consider when we're talking about who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Texas Longhorns. And all that's coming up after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kidfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, I want to talk about Casey Thompson, Hudson Card, and to some degree, we can talk about Ohio State, and you'll understand what I'm talking about when we get there. But let's not sweat the technique. Yes, this is a Smash Williams jersey. It's a very special day in the RJ Young household, as now we have a Smash Williams jersey for the Dillon Panthers, and we have a East Dillon Lions jersey with Vince Howard's name on it. I am very excited about these new additions to the wardrobe, to the closet, and I will be breaking them out regularly. All right, so Charles Thompson goes on the flagship podcast, which is 247's Texas Sites podcast about all things Texas, spoke with Chip Brown at length about his son, Casey Thompson. For those of y'all that don't know, Charles Thompson was the last great wishbone quarterback at the University of Oklahoma, full stop, and one of those top recruits for Barry Switzer at the time. It did not go well. As a matter of fact, there's a Sports Illustrated cover that you can go look up to see how bad it actually got. Now, since then, Charles has brought two sons into this world that have been quarterbacks at Power 5 blue blood programs. Earlier, like 10 years ago, when I was covering OU locally, Kendall was coming through. Kendall Thompson was left-handed. We were having like a discussion about the quarterback battle that included him and Blake Bell and Trevor Knight. And I was writing these features about all those guys, and I got to sit down with Charles Thompson at Rudy's in Norman to talk about Kendall at the time. But even then, I was told Casey's the guy. And at the time, Casey was at Southmore, right? He eventually transfers to Newcastle. And the way that he ends up at Texas is still really interesting to me, right? So Casey is really not ready to make a decision on whether or not he wants to go to Oklahoma or Texas during his recruiting cycle. And Lincoln Riley wanted to know because he wanted to be able to pull a trigger on a quarterback. Cam Rising at the time wanted to be at Oklahoma. Casey said, I don't know. You got to do what you got to do, coach. And Cam Rising commits to Oklahoma, only to flip his commitment to Texas. But at the time, Casey Thompson has committed to Texas, and he wasn't backing down off of that. And he has been there ever since, right? He has lived through the Jaquindon Jackson era, every bit of the Sam. I say that cheekily because there was no Jaquindon Jackson era, the Rashawn Johnson era as well, right? Because he was a quarterback, then they moved him to tailback because they were so decimated at that position. And now he is basically RB2 behind Bijan Robinson. He's RB2 behind Keontae Ingram when he was made to make that switch to benefit the team in 2018. Now, Casey went into the portal this time last year. Tom Herman talked him out of that with the thought, I think, being, let's get Sam through this year, and then you're the guy, full stop. You're going to have an opportunity to run this football team. Pandemic hits, everybody gets another year of eligibility. Tom Herman ends up getting fired anyway. One of the guys that I thought would be a hot quarterback on the market would be Casey Thompson if he decided to go in, but he didn't. And a lot of that is because of how he finished his 2020 season, because when you're drawing up the Alamo Bowl, you're not drawing it up for Casey Thompson to come in there in the second half and go 8 of 10 with 4 touchdown passes, really overshadowing Bijan Robinson, who had the best day of anybody on that football field, right? So now we're in this space where Steve Sarkisian is coming off of a national championship. He has tutored both Tua Tagovailoa and Mac Jones, two of the best passers in history according to pass air efficiency rating. Probably two dudes that end up getting drafted in the first round, but there's still Hudson Card, right? There's still that idea that Hudson Card can win this job, but I'm much more inclined to believe that Casey Thompson wins this job outright because of what we have seen on tape and what I saw from him locally on the OK Preps scene. Casey has the goods. He's got all the talent, and he's got all the know-how. He knows exactly what to do with his set of skills and what makes him good at the job. But one of the things that Charles pointed out is in the 2020 season, he went 12 of 17 with 6 touchdowns. And 2 of those incompletions against UTEP were drops, right? He's putting the ball where they are. All they got to do is catch it. And what we saw to end the season really ought to give Longhorn fans just that tremendous amount of confidence in their quarterback situation, even as you don't have a large sample size at all with Thompson. But Charles made this point again. He only got like 50 snaps, right, total. Looked like a guy that had 500 snaps in the Alamo Bowl. If you get him more reps, he's going to get better is the thinking here, right? The ceiling for him is tremendously high. Now, I caught a lot of hell for putting Casey Thompson, Bijan Robinson as my most entertaining and interested tandem to see in the Big 12. Not necessarily the one that I think is going to be the best, right? I still think that's Spencer Rattler and Marvin Mims because I got Oklahoma winning the national championship this year. But I ranked them in order of what I was most excited to see. And the fact is, I haven't seen a whole lot of Casey Thompson and Bijan Robinson. And when I did see him, I was enthused, man. Like, I liked watching them in that game. I wanted to see what else it would look like. We have a larger sample size for the likes of Spencer Rattler, for the likes of Brock Purdy and Breece Hall, right? And on it goes. Now we got a true blue, for real, quarterback derby at Texas Tech with Tyler Shuck choosing to transfer there and Baron Morton's like, challenge accepted. But I feel strongly in Casey Thompson in the way that I don't necessarily feel strongly about the quarterback situation at Ohio State, which is to say, whoever wins the job's very good, right? C.J. Stroud, Jack Miller, Kyle McCord. If you're actually doing a power ranking, you probably got C.J. Stroud as the 1. You got Jack Miller as the 2. You got Kyle McCord as the 3. Kyle McCord is the only 5-star, according to the composite, in that group. But it ain't really that big a gap, right? And you want to have those guys that have spent a year in your system and have game reps with your players and, quite honestly, have got rid of their black stripe altogether. Be something special for a true freshman quarterback to lead Ohio State at this juncture in the journey when they are very much in the national championship conversation once again. I think when we talk about that particular quarterback derby, we give it a little bit more time to breathe. We see what we see during the spring game, during the spring practice, assuming that we get to see those. And we listen to how Ryan Day talks about these players. He's not going to give us anything in the way of leaning one direction or another because I expect this derby to go all the way up to their season opener. Whereas with Casey Thompson and Hudson Card, I feel like we're going to know something a little bit sooner. Sark won't tell us because Sark doesn't want to give away any of his game plan headed into the season. And I get all of that. I understand the gamesmanship. But I'd be shocked to find out that Casey Thompson did not have conversations with Steve Sarkisian as soon as he took the job going, I want you here, and these are the reasons that I want you here. And Charles Thompson shed a little bit of light on that. And if you just watch film, you'll see the kind of player that Casey Thompson is. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.